Hi, I'm Ave Murami and welcome to my channel. Here I would like to discuss techniques of art not only to improve your craft, but to find time for yourself. With life as crazy as it is, and we all have stuff we have to do, it's good to find time for yourself and to set it aside and get creative. And I personally believe that everyone has the capability to do some form of art. With a little practice and time, you can surround yourself with beauty.
So now we're going to talk about brushes. These are the brushes that I use when I paint, and I use them the most frequently. At the top here we have your palette knife, and you use this to mix paints, and it's very versatile, it's very bendable and flexible, and actually very easy to use. But there's times when I mix my paints with my brush, and that's okay, even though you're not supposed to. And here is a blend brush. I use this for my larger canvases or boards when I need to blend a background, and it works really well. It's a 1-inch. And then I have a smaller blend brush that I use on my smaller paintings, and it works very well. It's actually a very inexpensive brush, and it's one of my favorites. Here we have a comb brush, and it works well for blending too. It's also good for lining and horizons. Here we have your liner brush, and this is used for fine details and finishing touches when you're finished with your painting. It's one of my favorite things to do, using a liner brush. And over here we have brush soap. You can use this soap or you can use a liquid detergent, it's fine, whatever to keep your brushes clean. It's very important to get the paint out so it doesn't dry up and ruin your brushes. So you don't have to go out and buy new ones. So it's very easy to use. You just get your brush wet, you swirl it around in the soap, and you rinse and your brush is clean. You can even leave the soap in to train the bristles to make them a better shape, so you can use them to paint again. And here we have your brush guide. So at your local art store you can buy your brushes, and on the back they have this handy guide that helps you with the brushes that you're using, and it tells you each different brush and all the many uses that it has. I find it really handy for myself because I usually forget what type of brush I'm using or what it's good for. Next thing you'll need is cleaning rags, and this is important when you paint because you need something to wipe your brushes on in between using the different colors. Here we have paper towels. I use them quite frequently. They last me a long time, but when you're done with them you can always throw them away. And here we have my favorite. They are the cloth rags. They are reusable, and when you're done, after so long, you can put them in the washing machine and they'll come out and you can use them again. Next, you will need water or turpentine jars to mix or thin your paints. I like this one. It's an old pickle jar, and I use it for a lot of my water-soluble paints. You can also use it for your turpentine, and it cleans the brushes really well. And then there's this baby food jar. This is really handy. It's small, it's lightweight, and it can travel, and I use it for oil, to hold oils as well as water and turpentine. Here we have your canvas, panels, and board. I prefer to paint on these. They have a smoother quality when the painting's finished, and you can get them at your local art or craft store, or you can get them at a hardware store. Next, we have your canvas paper, and they sell it in acrylic, and they also sell it for oils, and it's very handy and very lightweight, and it's easy to use, and you can make any shape or size out of it that you wish, and it comes up with a lot of sheets. And then we have your regular canvas. Here's a mini canvas I use that I like to paint on, but they come in all different shapes and sizes. Now you're going to need something to mix your paints on. You're going to need a paint palette. They sell them in acrylic, and they sell wood ones. All you use is you can use your paint knife or your brush to mix your paints on those. They also, you can use freezer paper on a board, or I use them on my wooden palettes. It works really well, and it's plastic coated, and it's great for all types of paints, and it's also used for arts and crafts. So it's lightweight, and you can find it at any grocery store, and it's pretty reasonably priced, and a little goes a long way. To use it, you can use it on your palette, wrap it around your either palette that you have or a board. So you'll take out a sheet, you'll notice that it feels kind of thick and plastic, and you'll rip off a piece, and taking your palette, you're going to wrap it around the edges. Make sure wherever you're painting, if you don't want to get it on your palette, whatever you prefer. If you want to paint on your palette, that's fine too. So once you get it there, you're going to use a little bit of tape, and you're going to tape the corners down. I use painter's tape, it works well. Now we have your painter's tape. I use this when I tape down my freezer paper to my palette. You also use it to make borders or lines in your painting that you don't want painted and you want a clean edge. It's very light stick, and there's different sizes that you can use for it. Also, we have some sandpaper that you use for your wood panels or your boards, and you sand them down to get rid of the splinters before you paint. Now let's talk about paints. These are the paints I use. Here are the oil paints. Can you tell I like Bob Ross? But they're very smooth, and you use them with turpentine to make soft quality paintings. Here we have some Winsor & Newton too. That's also another favorite of mine. I like their colors a lot. Here we have the Holbein Duo Aqua Oils. They're water-soluble oil paints, and I really like them and their vibrant colors. They have like very bright neon fluorescence, and they're hard, they're a little tricky, but once you figure them out, they're fun. Then we have acrylic. This is very easy to use. It's water-soluble. They dry a little bit quicker than I like, but I like how they use and how they flow well. And this one is a pretty cheap price if you're looking for something like that. Here we have a higher end acrylic paint, the Golden Paints. I really like these paints. They're very smooth, and they don't dry as fast. They also tell you in the back the opaqueness or the sheerness of the paint. Here we have our gesso, our varnishes and glazes. Here is our glaze, and you use this to make your paints thinner, to give them a more sheer look or soft look to your painting. Next, we have our gesso here, and you use the gesso to smooth out your canvas. It's also a good primer for before you start paintings. So how many layers depends on the softness or the smoothness you wish your canvas to be, if you want it to be less rough. And now we have your acrylic varnish. You use this clear coat to protect your paintings when you are finished. It protects from UV rays and dust, and it is highly recommended when you are done with your painting. I like the golden. It works very well, and it has a high gloss shine. You can use a matte version if you prefer. Now we have our oil varnishes and thinners. Here is an oil varnish made with walnuts, and it creates that high gloss shine when you protect your painting in the end. And right here we have our walnut oil, and this is used to thin your paints or to prolong your oil paints when you are working on your painting.
Thank you so much for joining me and watching my video today. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to the link below, and remember to smile, clean your brushes, and I'll see you next time.